Okay, so now let's start. So in the last video, right, in the last class, I was just give me a minute. Okay, so in the last class, we were configuring ESXi server directly, right? So we were trying to create some, some V switches over there and creating few, Linux devices over there, and they were able to talk to each other, and those things we did. Okay, so now what we'll do is we're gonna go and do it from the vCenter today. And instead of having two V switches, so last in the last video, if you have tried the last lab recording, we had two things. One is V switch 0, that is a default one that is already there on the ESX server. We created V switch 1 and then V switch 2, right? Okay, we created two V switches, and this guy has got the network of 1.0, and this guy has got a network of 2.0. But in today's class, we're going to do it differently, right? I'm not going to have two V switches. So instead, what I'll do is I'll have one V switch itself, which is V switch 1, right? And I'm going to have a VLAN 10, right? For let's say 1.0, and then I'm going to have VLAN 20 for 2.0. Okay, fine. So now let's go and start this guy. And before that, guys, I want to tell you, I just started the vCenter and Windows mission. They are ready now. I just started them a few minutes back. And if you are doing this lab, please make sure that you wipe all the devices first, right? And then start the router, and then start the vCenter and the Windows server first, right? So that we have to set up the vCenter first, and after setting up the vCenter only, we have to add these ESXi devices into the vCenter, right? So the first thing is wipe all the devices, start the router first, and then start the vCenter. I started it a few minutes back. It should be ready by now. And of course, Windows 7 machine is also ready, so it will have the IP address of 1.2. So we'll go and configure the IP address to this vCenter. Okay, so usually in the previous classes, or in the classroom, or the lab video that I've done previously, you have noticed that I generally take a DHCP IP on these devices, right? If you take ESXi one, I would have taken a DHCP IP. Some IPs will be given to the ESXi server from the DHCP server, right? So now this time, just for a change, what I'm doing is I'm going to configure a static IP. So instead of getting an IP address from the DHCP server, we'll configure a static IP here, right? And if you feel that I'm talking a little bit slower, you can watch my recording with 1.75 speed or 1.5 speed. If you feel I'm talking fast, you can slow down, right? So recommended is 1.5 or 1.75. So then now you can watch these lab recordings very fastly, and you can start doing the lab. Or maybe what I generally recommend is don't watch the recording completely and do the lab. So parallelly do it, right? So if you're watching some 2 minutes of video, pause it, do the lab, and then continue. So that's most recommended. Okay, now let us go and take this vCenter guy, and we can give him an IP address, right? See, this vCenter device is a tricky device. I have tried a couple of times. It is a little bit tricky because I'll tell you why it is very tricky, and I want you guys to follow exactly what I'm saying here, right? So exactly follow it, because there is a root account that we have in this vCenter, but that root account, even after setting a password to the root account, sometimes it says the password is not set. So let us go and try that. So follow the same step that I'm doing here. Don't do it anything else, because this vCenter appliance, I don't know whether it is the software bug or something like that. But anyway, right, for a few times when you try the the root login is not working properly. So I want you guys to try how I'm doing it. So first, let's go and click on this device. Okay, now you can see, it says that root password is not set. Can you see the last root password is not set? Okay, let's go and set the password. And to customize the setting, I have to click F2. Right? So F2, or try to give function F2, and it's asking for the new password, right? It's not asking for the old password, it's asking for the new password. Let me give test shift 481, test shift 481. Okay. So yes, so this is what I was talking about, right? When I give enter, it'll come and say that it's invalid. I don't know why this kind of a problem is coming. Okay, let me give enter, or let me give escape. Okay, nothing is working here. Okay, it's not working. We pause the recording. Okay, actually I wiped the device because I was not able to log into the vCenter device. So see, these are the things, it might happen at times. You wanted to have a couple of times trying on it, or else, you cannot expect it to work on the first time itself, right? So I was trying when I tried to log in with that the into the root account, it didn't allow me, it didn't say any error also, so I wiped the devices and I started it again. Okay, so let us go, and this is again, don't try to log in anything inside this, right? Just wait for this. If you are seeing this screen, just wait for it. After a few minutes of time, it will come to the vCenter information page where you can go and change the or set the root password. Okay, meanwhile I'll go and check this Windows machine if he can access internet or not. Okay, so he's in the, okay, we have the Windows 7 device here. Okay, so this guy, so I'm just trying to access this guy, and let us see if I have internet access or not, or no, if I have the IP address, so that now we can connect to this device. Okay, let me check whether he has got access or not. Okay, let me open the command prompt. ipconfig. Yes, of course he has got an IP address 1.2. When you try to ping 8888, of course it's working, right? Good. So yes, let's go to this guy, and we'll see what whether do we see that sign in page or not. Okay, still no luck. Okay, let me pause the recording for a few more seconds, a few more minutes, and once I get the vCenter page, let us continue. Okay, so after waiting for a couple of minutes, I got this VM, the vCenter appliance page. So this is what I was expecting. So just start the device and give him some 2-3 minutes of time, guys, or maybe maximum 5 minutes of time. So you'll be able to see some kind of a page like this. And when I click on this, yeah, it says F2 to customize. So let me give F2 function F2 for in my case. So if you can give F2 or try function F2 if it doesn't work. So I'm just going to log in with the default password, which is VMware. Okay, VMware is the default password. So yeah, the default password is it took the default password, which is VMware. So just small case VMware. That's the password that I was giving. Okay, so let me give. So this is the first thing you have to do, guys. So configure root password. You enter and type the old password, VMware, and the new password is going to be test shift 481 and test T capital shift 481. Okay. So the password that I gave here, the new password is test test shift 481. So this is the password that I gave. And now, yes, so the root password is configured. As soon as you configure the root password, just give escape, right? So now the root password is configured, right? Let us try again, right? So after giving the root password, or after setting the root password, please give escape to exit out of that window. And now I'm into the main page or the home page of this vCenter, and I'm going to give again function F2. And just to make sure that the new password is working, I'm just checking it. Test shift 4321. I think I gave the password wrong. T capital test shift 4321. Okay. I think, yeah, so it's taking the password, right? Good. So now let's go and configure the management network. So management network is nothing but though the vCenter's IP address. So when I click on this, it says IP configuration. The IP address is not set. Okay, so you can go with dynamic IP address, guys. Use dynamic IP if you have a DHCP server. That's fine. But generally, it's not recommended to get an IP address from the DHCP server, because this server can can give a different IP address, depends on the availability. So you don't have a constant IP address always if you go with DHCP environment. Let's go and take a static IP, right? So I'm going there. So can you see this guy? If you see this, so can you see this guy? This O, which means that radio button is selected. So if you want to select dynamic, you can click on this and press the space bar. If you press the space bar, so it's gonna use the dynamic IP address, which means it will ask for the DHCP server. Or else if you want to set static IP, I'm gonna go down and then again press the space bar, so it will select that static IP, right? I would like to configure the static IP, so I just selected that 192.168.1.100. That's the plan, right? That if you see the diagram, that's the plan. Okay, so the next thing is the mask is 258.258.258.0, and then the default gateway is 192.168.1.1. Okay, that's the default gateway, because you can see here this is the default gateway. So we are giving a static IP to this vCenter device 1.100. Okay, let us give enter, and IP6 configuration I'm saying, and I'm going to disable IP6 configuration just by giving that space bar. So can you see that there is an X which says enable IP6, that is enabled by default. So let me go and disable it. So space bar, and then it disables it. I'm just going to give enter, And DNS configuration, I'm going to say primary DNS is 8.8.8.8. Okay, good. So nothing else. We can just give all the configurations are done now. If you see the IP configuration, IP address is 1.100, IPv6 is disabled, and DNS configuration is 8.8.8. Please make sure that you check all these things one more time and they are correct. Okay, so let me give escape and go to the home page again. So when you give when you give exit, it will ask this question: configure management network. So there is a change that has been made. Do you want to really apply that change? I say yes. Right. I'm just typing Shift Y to save the setting. Right. You can give Shift Y to save it. So it's saving the setting. So it will take few more seconds. Okay, I think it's done. Okay, now you can see the IP address, everything is configured. Fine, good. So now let us go and give escape and get the home page of this vCenter. Okay. Now what I'll do is, guys, can you see you have that 1.100 over here, 1.100, now it is a statically configured IP address. So I'm just going to go to the Windows machine from here, and we'll try to ping if 1.100 is reachable or not. First we'll check the ping reachability, and then we can go and connect on HTTPS. Okay. Okay, let's go and do that. Okay, I'm gonna ping 192.168.1.2, sorry, 1.100. Okay, yes, so who's replying? The vCenter is replying. Okay, let's give exit and open the Chrome browser. And we're gonna give HTTPS 192.168.1.100. Hey, please make sure that this thing, please have this in mind, guys. So when you want to access the vCenter for the first time, we have to set up the vCenter, right? In order to set up the vCenter, you cannot directly log into the IP address. So you have to give the IP address 192.168.1.100, and then you have to give the port number 5480. This is a port number that you have to give in order to set up the vCenter, because the vCenter appliance is ready, but we have to set up the vCenter. We have to install that that vCenter service on this appliance. So first we'll go to this particular port number so that we can access the vCenter, the management page of vCenter, and then we can install the vCenter service over there. Right? I'm going to give not just the IP address, I have to give the port number 5480. Okay, let me give enter. Okay, so meanwhile, guys, one thing I wanted to tell you is, see, even after configuring the password on this vCenter device, right? We configured the password, right? The test shift 432 and this password. Hey, this is the one that I configured. Sometimes, I've noticed this vCenter is not really stable, but that's okay. For our lab purpose, this is more sufficient. So what I wanted to say here is, see, when you try to and log in with this password, sometimes it won't work. After setting the password from VMware to test this guy, test ship 4321, sometimes it won't work. And also I've seen a few times here. Now let me click on the vCenter. I'm not getting the page, please wait. Okay, so yeah, this is what I was actually telling you guys. So when I give enter, can you see it says that root password is not set? Just few minutes back we set the root password, and now it's again saying root password is not set. See, I don't know whether this is a bug, maybe fixed in the next version of vCenter or not. I don't know. But when I try to log in, when I give function F2, it is asking for the password again. Okay? So these are certain things, certain things that you have to come over by trying a couple of times, wipe the vCenter device, those things and all. Let me set it again. Test shift 4321. Test shift 4321. Okay, so yes, now it's set. Let's give escape, and now you don't see that root password is not set. Okay, because I've set it. See, already I've set it, but again now it says the root password is not set. Now again I've set it. Now it's not showing that it is not set. Okay, let's try now. Okay, I'm just gonna give advanced, proceed. You're gonna see the okay. So here you can see this vCenter setup vCenter appliance. So let me give set up vCenter appliance, and it's asking for the password. So the password is test shift 4321. Hey, this is where I'm telling you guys. So sometimes when you try to give this the right password, test shift 4321, when you try to log in, it will say unable to authenticate, right? At that time, if you go and see this way again, right, you'll be able to see that root password is not set. That kind of a problem you can notice. Okay, let me give enter now. I hopefully I'm expecting, so it worked. So yes, so try a couple of times. If it doesn't work, again try a couple of times. Definitely it'll work. Okay, yeah. So you followed my instruction, right? What I was doing, Okay, let me continue now. Okay, let me give next. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with these things. So time synchronization, we don't have any NTP server contact right now. So let me go with synchronize with this ESXi host itself. I'm saying that no time synchronization required. Let me give next. Okay, so this is a place where you have to mention your domain. So I'm just mentioning here it is ng.net. If you have any domain, maybe you guys don't have, I believe. Maybe in the industry environment, all they'll have a domain, right? So that domain is what they'll be using it. So fine, I'm just giving a dummy domain that I have ng.net. It's not actually the real domain here. I'm just using. You can use any name you want. I'm just using ng.net. Okay, so sign in password. This time I'm going to give shift 4 shift 4 and just 3 shift 2 1, right? So I'll tell you why this password I'm using here, because it has got some password complexity conditions. So for the right now the one that I'm giving over there, that is shift this guy and then 3 and then this guy and then this guy, right? So shift 4 and then just the 3 number, shift 2 which is at, and then this guy, right? Shift sorry, the normal one. Okay, and who's the username? The username is administrator, right? So you can see this is the default username, which is root and vmware. This is the default one it has got. And next after that I change it to root account. I change to shift 4321 test shift 4321, and here this account is called as administrator, right? So the one that we are setting, the password that I'm setting it right now is for the administrator account. Administrator at the rate of, sorry, at the rate of ng. This is the username, and the username and the password for that username is test shift 4 and 3 shift 2 and then 1. Okay, so yes, let's go and confirm the password as well. Test shift. Okay, good. So you can give any number in the site, it doesn't matter. So I'm just giving ng1 or something like that. Okay, so let me give next. Okay, so maybe if you want to join, you can join. I'm unchecking it. Okay, finish. Okay, it says you'll not be able to stop once it's started. Fine. So it's gonna set up the appliance setup is in progress, right? So setting up the services. Okay, after the setup is done, so we should be able to have this vCenter service or vCenter server working perfectly, right? Okay, so in the last class we were working on ESXi, so today we are working on vCenter. So the purpose of vCenter is already explained in the class itself, right? It is a central management server which can control all the ESXi devices, right? So it's very useful in the production environment to have a vCenter appliance when you have multiple vCenters in the deployment. Okay. Okay, so here the next thing that I wanted to do is I just wanted to pause the screen for a few minutes of time, because this vCenter installation will take somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes of time, right? So depending on the load on the server, it may take 15 to 20 minutes of time. So I'm just going to wait for this vCenter to get completed. Meanwhile, I'll also start this ESXi and then this ESXi. So I'm just going to start this ESXi first. So I think this guy will get a DHCP IP address of 1.101 and this guy will get a DHCP IP address of 1.102. Okay, so yes, let us go and pause the recording. Okay, so it took around 10 minutes for me to complete this. Okay, now let us go and check whether this is this this IP address is reachable, which means it's giving the photon mission 4430, but actually photon mission is the host name of the device. But anyway, we're gonna log in with the IP address only. So let's go and click on HTTPS 192.168.1.100, right? So this time no port numbers, because we are directly logging into the vCenter server. Okay, let me give advanced and proceed. Okay, so this is where you see this. This is where you understand that the vCenter service is completely set up, and let me click on this vSphere client HTML5. Okay, so let me log into the name administrator at ng.net, because that is the domain name that we give, and the password is tester shift 4 3 shift to 1. Okay, okay, so this is the password I used. Okay, so now let's see whether the user interface is getting loaded or not. Okay, so it's good. So we have this vCenter setup coming here, and now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna stop the recording here, because I'm gonna continue the next part of the recording, adding the ESXi host into the vCenter. It's going to be in the next recording. Okay, so thank you guys. Bye.